And I mean, I suppose one of the things that is interesting is in terms of the history is the involvement of composers, and that's of course true in America as well. And is that, you know, gamelan at York, gamelan was where we met weird, interesting people. In the department, and it had a very strong kind of sense of social, being a sort of social group as well as a musical group within the department. So people tended to be friends with other gamelan players. You did have friends who didn't play gamelan, but on the whole, certainly the composers almost all played gamelan, at least for a bit. Some of them then decided they didn't like it, but they all tried it.
Composing music is part of my life. I started to compose music when I was a music student in Indonesia and using many different instruments and instruments that I could think of. And gamelan is one of the exciting instruments that I always use in my compositions. And started composition seriously at the Guildhall. I took a master's in composition at the Guildhall. Then I just finished my PhD in composing music at York University, composing music for gamelan, Western and electronics music. And I think gamelan music is kind of endless source for endless inspiration for me for my composition, because of the tunings, because of the sonority of the instruments.
I think the adults are fascinated by the complexity of the art form, all the things which go into it, the voices, music, the movement, and we'll get different things out of it. The children, I think, love the freedom as a rule. Some of them are a little bit nervous, because I work with them in a non-scripted way. That part of the reason why I like to teach Wayang is that it enables them to get beyond reading out a script, and so get them to improvise, to extemporize in performance around a theme, and to develop these, which they're exposed to in some sense at school. But rarely are they working with puppets, and rarely are they working puppets accompanied by music, especially live music. So it's a very new thing, and what I like to see is the children pursue interests which are topical and of interest to them. So all kinds of things come out of these performances, which are really lovely, and I think the parents enjoy that as well. Seeing something which, on one hand, is very exotic for the kids, very outside of their normal cultural bounds. On the other hand, reflecting very much their everyday concerns, whether it's boyfriends and girlfriends, if they're young teenagers, or pop culture, Disney movies. That all these things can be recycled in performance and then made personal. At the same time, coming into dialogue with another culture. So I enjoyed that process of not making it too far removed that they can't have any involvement in it, and making it very hands-on in that way. And hopefully it allows them to have an intelligent read of other cultures and be able to think about their relation to foreign cultures more generally.
And then I heard about the gamelan groups in London, and then I went to see Balinese dance accompanied by gamelan in London, and I thought, well, it would be really nice to have a gamelan group at the Horniman, because it's a way of bringing together lots of people who probably don't know one another, but who can sort of make sweet harmony together. And that's what we try and do at the Horniman.
And so in parts of the country it's a new thing and very novel, but in parts of the country people are very, very used to it. I'm coming up all the time against people who learnt gamelan when they were at school now, so as a university teacher in the music department, and there's quite a lot of people who did. There is gamelan happening at the national youth music competitions. I know that there's children's group from Oxford has played 3 times now and got through to the finals. So they know, people know what a gamelan is. They see what a gamelan is quite a lot more readily than they used to. There's a lot more awareness of it. Obviously in London people are very sophisticated. You try explaining what a gamelan is if you're teaching or if you're working in the north or in Cornwall, and you've got to show them photographs and describe it. But I remember when somebody was having a gamelan party in a garden in Camden about 10 years ago, and we knocked on their door, the neighbours, to say, oh, would you mind if we set up these instruments from Indonesia to play for rehearsal tomorrow? I said, oh, gamelan? They said, yes, gamelan. Is it Surakarta style gamelan or Jogjanese gamelan? I said, oh, so you know you're sophisticated Londoners. But I think there's a lot of awareness of it, yeah.